Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. And what I really wanted to just do is have a conversation really about the millennials that many of us are teaching. So I have a couple of slides to kind of get the conversation going, but please, I really wanted to just be an open discussion of how we're handling the millennials who are in our midst in our classrooms. And why I started paying attention to millennials a couple of years ago is I feel that all education is communication, and the first rule of communication is know your audience. Teaching for 30 years now, even though I look so young, it's hard to believe, but I went right out of college into my first teaching job. The classroom since early 20s, and I was a lot closer to the students' ages back then than I have been recently. So, they seem to be different to me than the students I've taught in the past. Who are they? We know all of this. They call them Gen Y, Echo Boomers. iGen was a phrase they were trying to get going, but kind of settled on the millennials born between 81 and 99. And then this chart, we've all seen different kinds of versions from it, but just looking at the different generations that we may be, focus on the millennials, confident, realistic, sort of. These have just been pulled, from all the literature around millennials. What are they looking for in terms of rewards, meaningfulness? From the business literature about changing jobs, the baby boomers might have thought this puts them behind. Gen Xers felt it's necessary to get ahead, but the millennials say it's part of my daily routine. Oh, I didn't realize this is a touch screen. And so feedback once a year with lots of documentation might be what we were used to getting, let's say. Gen X, more forceful about asking for feedback. Millennials, whenever I want it, and at the button, right? Quick now. So these are the bullet points that I kind of pulled out of the different things I read or different conversations I had. So this is what I want us to focus on. These are myths, but are they true? The millennials like to chase the bright, shiny objects. They're the trophy, quote unquote, generation. Like to collaborate, love technology and devices. A lot of literature is showing they love to learn and grow, although I'm not seeing that as much in my classrooms. I don't know about you all. Tell it like it is. So these myths, what do you think? Have we heard them, or is it just me making them up, or... Yeah, or, used to getting some kind of reward, right? The jokes are, the last place team in the conference still gets a big trophy too, right? Because everybody showed up and was there. So that's why it's kind of quote unquote, and kind of ties in with the bright, shiny object trophy as a bright, shiny object that they're chasing. But yet, a lot of the characteristics say they want meaningfulness. Yeah. 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 Around the collaboration is that they look towards other sources, like for information, like Google searches and Wikipedia, and that is, in their mind, puts them in a community, like, Yeah. And when I do group projects, they're not collaborating. I started doing a lot of group projects because I've always read they love to collaborate, but somebody does this little tiny part, and then when they're done, they turn it off to the next kid in the group. Okay, so for each of those, I just tried to come up with, some thoughts that I had, but I really, if we come up with some good ideas, I'll make note of them, and then we'll come up with like a little best practices maybe for ourselves. Is the grade A, is that the bright, shiny object? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Yes, and especially, yeah. 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 Yep, and I don't have solutions. It's just things that I've been thinking about. So jump in with your hints and how you've been managing it. Back to the trophy generation, pride and joy of their parents. These are just some of the myths that we hear about it. High premium on success. That's what we've just been saying. So then I was trying to think, what could be the trophy in my classes or with my advisees. So maybe just paying attention to them and providing guidance. I don't know what else I can offer. Great, but sometimes outlandish or unrealistic expectations about their abilities. And so that's kind of what we're getting at. How do we handle that? That with our nurses, they're going to graduate. They all want to work in ICU right out of school. But you gotta do some, the med surg, regular floors before they'll let you work ICU. Nope, they want that trophy. They want that ICU right off the bat. They don't want to have to wait. Any thoughts about what we can do to temper? We've been expecting, they turn something in, and so that's 100%. Give me my A, instead of, as some kind of scale. I think your suggestion is also some research that again that this generation is very close to their parents compared to previous generations. They are more used to interacting with them, and they remain closer to their parents. Yeah. College grade, and I've seen parents get involved in graduate. Yeah, that's a tough balance because I understand the dependency, and it's a good thing that they're close. For my advising, I made a Facebook page, and more parents have friended that page than my actual advisees, because I don't put anything personal about any student, but like I'll put up graduation petitions due November 6th, and then the parents read that, and then they'll tell their children. But I said it at orientation when parents were in the room, and all of a sudden I started noticing these older faces on that page, and I'm like, that's not one of my students, and I realized it. So maybe it's really fair. So I guess I'm guilty. But it makes me wonder, a lot of times we do this kind of what is really important? What do I really need to know? Because we want us to prove the information. And that I just was surprised about it. They giving us the outline. It's happening. It's so easy, but it's how it happens. But what's important? Yeah. The outline of the power. You've got the objectives right up right on PowerPoint. Yeah, I got something on that. This one, yeah. They want things spelled out clearly, flounder without very precise guidelines. We've been just saying all of that. Thrive in structure, right? Well-defined rules. But they don't want to be talked at. So how do we give them these instructions without that impression of that we're talking at them? They also need to be reminded continually. I dropped the ball one Friday. My assignments are all due Sunday night, just before midnight, and usually on Friday I'll send out a reminder. And one Friday I was traveling and I just couldn't do it. And a lot of kids did not turn in that assignment, and when they got a 0 for it, they were like, "Well, you didn't remind us." And I'm like, worried about their or they always need somebody to tell them what to do. I think this would be a balance in working with them and how we prepare them for the real world, because this is going to fly nursing. If they don't keep up with their CPR, they're going to be pulled off the floor and got pay. They're walking into a very strict world. And I think, back to the first thing about what's a trophy, one thing I've been really trying to do is give them positive reinforcement. We have a student who struggled with the program, and I got a good report from his pediatric clinical faculty, and I made sure I put aside to him, and I said, I just want to let you know, clinical faculty is some good words about you. So I think to give them the trophy thing is to say, you're struggling. I'm really proud about the efforts you're making. So like the student today, she's really struggling, and she's doing everything she possibly can. I said, I think you need to give yourself some credit. I said that you're doing this really great, that you're doing this. But I think we need to maybe instruct them about what we're going to do. So I tell them, I said, the syllabus is flexible in my class. We will negotiate sometimes, or I'll negotiate some assignments. I will also expect there might be some movement in it, but I will communicate it clearly. So I think if you tell them up front, but they can't have everything their own way. They just can't. We can't remind them all the time because they're not going to be successful.
Going back to the point about distinguishing what's important, I think what you said was true. But you also have to remember that their entire lives they've been bombarded with information. And so, I think maybe this is too simple, but in the past, if you were given information, it's because it was important. Because they've been constantly exposed to completely irrelevant information their entire lives, so it might be more daunting to know the difference.
Good point. Yeah.
Very good point. A situation that's more familiar to us.
Yeah. Let's see, I skipped a little bit. Then we briefly mentioned the collaboration before, and so what is, the perception of collaboration for the millennials? So what I'm trying to balance there is a virtual means of having them work together, and then, physical space for when we're in the classroom too. So how do we get them to work well in groups? This is a problem ever since I can remember, since I was even in school, somebody in the group does all the work, somebody's a slacker, so I don't think we're ever going to solve this group work. But then I was thinking for the collaboration, maybe encourage them to answer one another's questions. Could that be a way that they like to work together and communicate? Have some kind of way for them to appreciate one another, in the classroom, amongst their teams. So the collaboration, all the literature that I've been able to find is, their view of collaboration is just being part of like this shared community. They consider that collaborating, a little different than we might. Then I was thinking about technology, and they communicate in different ways than we might be used to communicating. And I'm thinking they see class not as a place that they go to, but just a thing that they do, right? So it's all the assignments that'll get them that bright, shiny A or diploma as a trophy, whatever. So if class is not a place, it's a thing they do, that has some implications. I'm trying to think about, some curriculum design issues there. Love of the devices can make them seem unengaged, unfocused, unprofessional even if they're all texting or Facebooking while they're in a classroom. So, how do we use their love of technology to our advantage? What could we do? And I tried to put the advising on Facebook. That was a dud with the students because they didn't want me seeing their Facebook stuff, right? But it's a big hit with the parents. So, but what else could we do to take advantage of the technology that we have?
In my econ class, my principal classes, they seem to engage more when we have like all the homework online, things like that.
Yeah.
So, a small step, probably not exactly what you're talking about. They like reading online, reading getting physical books.
Yeah.
I don't care how you read it, I just want you to read it.
Yeah.
But usually they like the online system. They really like Canvas, their Blackboard,
Mm-hmm.
type interface, and they enjoy doing that. I'd love to play around with like doing surveys and stuff where they use those tablets.
Yeah.
Respond real time.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife found an app that you can create with PowerPoint. So that it allows you to do, if you have something up there, and you can,
And then they text like their response. Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Text her. Text her to find out. Feedback, big issue for us as professors. They tell it like it is, and they might even be critical of our performances in ways that prior generations of students might not. So, but it's kind of, to me, it's like unidirectional or one way, because they'll feel free to tell it like it is, but if we try to tell them like it is, we have to sugarcoat it maybe a little bit more to make it more palatable to them. So, how do we, got enough to teach with our course content, but then how do we teach some kind of tact or strategy, to make sure that their communication is respectful in both directions.
One of the things we find is that when you tell them right away, they seem to respond to it. Say, this is what I expect you to do. I will not return an email in 2 days. I will not. If you tell them, and maybe you have almost like the military rules of engagement, where we say, this is how we engage in the class, and they like structure. And in terms of, you might have to talk about civility. This is a civil email. This is a civil way in which you talk to a professor. So I think we need to start modeling to them. It doesn't matter that you don't like it, that I didn't answer your email as soon as you want. It has nothing to do with whether you got the content objectives in the class.
Yeah.
And I got hit by a car my first semester here, And the students complained about that I didn't answer the email in 2 weeks. I got hit by a car. I couldn't. So they didn't understand. Sometimes they just don't get.
And you think that going into the healthcare, they don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand. So I think
Yeah.
maybe there's something we need to talk with university wide about. Maybe developing appropriate rules of engagement and behavior that we model in the classroom.
Yeah.
Because they do like direction.
Yeah.
I find that they also struggle with talking to each other. They really struggle, my students, in being civil and respecting differences. In a group, it comes out more in the lab experiences that we do, but I just see there are students who find it very hard to relate to someone who's different.
Yeah.
Appreciate that person is different and why. And it almost comes across as hostility towards folks who are different. So it's really an eye-opener for me to see that. Because, again, they're in pre-professional programs where they're going to have to learn to interact with people from all walks of life. And I just find that they break out into what.
Yeah. And it's confusing because this is the same millennials who are answering surveys and like not putting a racial or ethnic kind of preference because many are mixed, but yet they glom together with like people. Yeah.
One of the students had mentioned, one of the strengths that we do have in nursing, and you do see difference. I have this in my B1 class where there's a real nice mix of older and younger students. They're very united, this group. And some of the older students have taken the lead to model and study and create study groups and how to share resources and things like that. So that is a strength we do have in the nursing program, is having other people model this community and we're all in this together. They're seeing it.
When I had a traditional class, I had more what you were talking about. And they were disrespectful to each other.
Yeah.
But the second to 3 years, maybe it's just a matter of maturity, but or maybe it's millennium, but they do better in the second to 3 years.
Yeah. They have sometimes they said that have the older, more experienced students who say this is how you resolve conflict.
They just set the tone for the
Right,
class.
I just think they don't know how to just talk to someone who they've never met before. They're very sort of insular in conduct.
Yeah.
I find it really alarming.
And actually, that's come back from the reviews from the clinical sides. When you teach your students how to communicate, how to communicate with practitioners, how to communicate with patients, I see that really lacking. I actually came back recently.
I worry for them when they go out into internship.
Yeah.
They have to get their place into a completely unfamiliar environment, and then how do they make headway and communicate with strangers?
Yeah. And I don't think they map stuff back. So I do just a bunch of onboarding at the beginning of each of my courses. So I have these online tutorials in communication skills, and they have to take it. But then I don't think a year from now, when they're in an internship, they'll remember what they learned, from that. I think they just apply it to the points that they get to pass my course. I don't know. So then I just tried to come up with some of my own ideas. I don't know, just trying to, give good feedback, tell them like it is, but kind of in as positive of a way that I can, because I don't want to be the mean old professor that's always telling them they're wrong and doing bad. I give weekly feedback to them about how many points they have and where that puts them in standing, for the course so far. But that's very time intensive. It takes me a lot of extra time to do that. Somebody suggested, I was talking with an executive, about managing millennials on the staff, and she said she tries to do like little daily check-ins with people, but that would not be possible for the number of courses we have and students we have in them. But, really, how do we convey this, that what we're teaching is relevant, that it has an impact on them? Because they want meaning, they say, all the literature is saying they want meaning. So for us to get meaningful education, got to have some relevancy, but I don't know how to get that across. So we've got 5 minutes, so let's tell each other what to do. Let's collaborate here and be direct and come up with a list of guidelines, right, of how do we manage the millennials, in our classrooms. I don't know, ideas.
Well, I think it's healthcare. We have enough data to have a lot of benefits. I've got patients that have had this disease or something like that, so we have a little bit of an advantage. So as far as relevancy, we have to do that with every idea we bring across.
Yeah.
And we can refer to the current information data and stuff like that. Say, hey, look, how many people are affected by this?
Yeah.
Here's how we can apply this study that.
Yeah, and probably any of the, career-orientated classes, that's kind of there. I'll go back to the myths page and just tell me what you think. Are any thoughts around these, or any others that I didn't put on the slide? Other perceptions that we have about the millennials?
I would say no, we take for granted that they're savvy with technology.
I was going to say that. That's the
They
point.
may be able to use a cell phone, but if you ask them to do a lit search and how they've been on the library and all the resources and search engines, they look to that.
If you ask them to make a question, starfish or
Yeah.
that's true. Starfish.
Yeah.
Not with starfish, they can't figure out
The opposite for me, I'm blown away by the fact that they can't.
Yeah, I think their use of the technology is very limited and not an understanding of how it works or what the implication. I remember my Uncle Bob is so mild-mannered, but he was in technology his whole career, and I'm in technology. And so when little cousin Joey was an avid video gamer, his mother, my cousin Susie, said, "Oh, I think Joey's gonna, take after YouTube because he's so good on the computer." And Uncle Bob, the mildest mannered man in the world, says, "Joey doesn't know a thing about computers. That's how to play that game." And it always, stuck with me that, they might know how to do something, but they're not understanding.
I think they use technology a lot. That doesn't mean they use a lot of technology.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it too. Well, some really good points. Just more for us to think about.
One thing I'd say is I think the millennials are a very diverse bunch. It's really tough to just categorize, like, this is what they are like. If anything, I think it's a lot of demographic stats are just, the U.S. is becoming increasingly diverse, and I think it makes certainly you get all the technology going on, a lot of changes in family dynamics, a lot of changes in demographics. It's really hard to say, some kids are grown up in a very traditional nuclear family, others are coming from immigration from elsewhere, a whole bunch of diversity. That's about every dimension. I think that's exciting. It's just kind of exciting changes going on, but it's hard to say what's.
I think I'm part of the beginning end of the millennial generation, and I think there's a vast difference between those born in the early 80s versus people born like 1996 who have had the constant technology. And some of the online work I've done in another university, they recommended, we were teaching online, but we had synchronous sessions of, creating at the very beginning of the course WebKit. So, the class created their own rules on how they wanted to interact, kind of going with, what Marianne said about rules of engagement in the classroom. But I thought about doing that in my own classroom. On Monday, I called students out because I could see the computer screen as I was walking, as I was talking, and they were, I don't know what they were looking at, but it was not the PowerPoint slide. And last Friday, I facilitated the class for someone else, and I had to show a video, and I sat in the back. They all saw where I was sitting. There was Facebook, there was online shopping, there was all this, and I was really tempted at the end to be like, okay, clear your desk, there's a quiz. That would have been for my own entertainment. And I didn't. And I was telling the associate dean, she's like, you should have done that. She's like, it would have taught them. But I think being mindful that they're not going to put away the computers, but getting them to at least use it,
for the purpose.
Or, those sorts of things for a purpose. I think helps them keep them on task.
Yeah.
And maybe that, like, holding other students accountable for the end of the day. You're not on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, start my class off starting with, if you're on your computer, it's great, you can pull up my PowerPoint, but please don't be on Facebook or checking your email because it's very distracting to people around you. Not only is it disrespectful to me, but disrespectful to people around you. But when during a video one time I was walking around and somebody was like LLB site or something, I went over, closed their laptop and kept walking. No explanation, just closed her laptop. She got it. Did she do it again? I'm sure she did. But there's only so much you can do. But some of them, I think this age too, they have like two sides of their brain they're working at once because they can be listening to and doing something else, and I swear they still are getting you. It's like they're used to that overload, and they're okay with that.
Yeah.
I think some of them can do that. I think it's very few that do it well.
That's true. They've started to have studies that say their perception of how well they do that is much higher than how well they actually do.
Yeah.
So you really can't multitask. I mean,
Right.
you're limited. You really can't use both sides of the high functioning brain at the same time.
My dilemma is I understand smartphone addiction on a personal level.
Yeah.
I feel the pain.
Yeah.
I do have one major concern, is the level of anxiety and depression these kids have.
Yeah.
That really concerns me. And I think it's wonderful that the students are very open about it and they're getting help right away. There seems to be less of a stigma to say I need to take medication. It seems to be very open, which is a good thing because people are getting it. But I don't understand where it's coming from, why they can't cope with anything that's like I can't cope with the fact that you was freaking out because you posted the grades. I mean, I don't like having to post the grades right after I do the exam, but that's our expectation.
Yeah.
Where before I used to have to the next class meeting, and that's a reasonable expectation.
Right.
And they do pretty good if you communicate. Well, we can't cope. We're all freaking out, and they really are freaking out. And that's the thing that's a big concern. It's like again, healthcare. I don't know how they're gonna deal.
Or just in life.
With like the instant feedback, yeah.
Wow, and I wrote that by saying this is one great comment.
Yeah.
Oh, I do Blackboard tests where they get the scores.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we have more questions than when we came in, but thanks for the conversation. I appreciate it.